Hey, welcome to the Solsbury Hill, not Hell, deep analysis video. First, let me apologize. This video should have come out right along with when my initial music video came out. However, I don't know, life happened. It's taken me a while, but I did want to get this out for the people that want to do a deeper dive into the song, why I like it, what makes it cool, and we'll get into that. So, for those of you here, thank you very much. I have loved this song for a long time. It's just a great song. It's a beautiful song. It's off of, was the first single off of Peter Gabriel's self-titled 1977 solo album. So this is the first album he released after he left Genesis. And in fact, kind of researching it, it turns out the song was actually based on a experience Peter Gabriel had going up on a place called Solsbury Hill, I guess in Somerset, England, right after he left Genesis. And he says the song is a lot about, I guess, like a metamorphosis, about letting go. And clearly you can see that in the lyrics. So I kind of grew up with the song. It's beautiful. And when I decided to take up guitar, which I did seriously, let's see, right after I left music school, Moravian College, so I graduated in like 95, 96, I think. 95, 96, I forget. I'd have to go look at my piece of paper. I graduated. I was a piano major, really good pianist, but I was a little burned out on the whole classical music piano thing after music school, and was looking for a different way to express myself musically, and like the idea of something portable. I had this vision of me sitting only like on my back deck of my house and strumming and noodling on the guitar, just having a drink and just kind of enjoying the sun. And it's hard to do that with piano. It's not a very portable instrument. So I seriously threw myself into learning guitar. And it was, this is before YouTube. I think Wikipedia, if it was either not a thing or a very, very new thing. The internet was a thing, but it wasn't, it was in its kind of early days. So it was very hard to find information. I mean, yes, I could find all sorts of guitar tabs in kind of a text form document. And guitar tablature is great for learning guitar. I mean, a good guitar tab will tell you exactly what string to fret a note to get the right sound. However, especially with the internet type of tab, it's limited. They don't put the like the rhythmic notation. So it's, unless you really know the song and know how it's supposed to sound, tab can be difficult, especially when it's like a text document. If it doesn't format correctly on your printer, or when you download it, it can be tough. That, and well, this song is not a beginner guitar song. It's just not. And I didn't really consider that at the time. So I'd find a tab, I'd try to learn it, and I couldn't make it sound right. It was really frustrating. And with other songs, sometimes like I could get like 2 or 3 different tabs and kind of Frankenstein them together. This tab, this part was really good, and this other tab, this other part was really good, and I could put them together. But I just, I took a number of different runs of the song over the years early on, and I couldn't make it work. It was really frustrating. But still loved the song. And then just recently, Justin from justinguitars.com, and I will put a link to his website in the description, man. This guy's great. He puts up guitar instructional videos, how to play different songs, and he's so good at breaking things down. All his stuff is like free. It's like you can choose to donate, and I've certainly donated money to him because his website's awesome. I've learned a lot of stuff from there, and he's really improved my guitar playing. Anyway, recently he posted a how-to video on Solsbury Hill, and I looked at it. I was like, oh my god, there it is. This is what I want. It was a solo acoustic, fingerstyle arrangement. I love fingerstyle guitar. You know, it allows you to, you know, doing it right with a fingerstyle guitar, you can have multiple lines of music going at once. So you can have your bass and your melody, sometimes other voices, and it's like one of those things when it's done right by a really skilled player, which I am not. Can you know, people go like, wow, one guy's doing that. Thinking guys like Andy McKee would be a good example of like fantastic fingerstyle guitar arrangement. But this is a good arrangement, using kind of a modified Travis picking style, so I had to get a nice driving, you know, steady bass line to support the song, and oh, it was fantastic. And well, I'm embarrassed to say this because, like I said, music school. If this had not been a pop song, and you know, Jesus, a Peter Gabriel pop song, which means it's not like a regular pop song. But I didn't, you know, I don't know. Looking back, I never approached the song with the same kind of rigor I might have done had I been approaching a jazz piece or a classical piece. And when you're trying to learn a new piece, like I was in music school, one of the first things you're supposed to do is figure out the meter. You know, is it 4/4 time? Is it 3/4 time? You know, what are we dealing with here? And for you non-music major people, when I'm talking about 4/4 time, you know, songs have a meter, so it's like how many beats per chunk of time, we call per measure. And 4/4, the top number, you know, if you look at a piece of sheet music, the first thing at the beginning of the bar, you know, 4/4, 3/4. The top number is how many beats per measure. So that's how, you know, basically that's how we're counting. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, or for 3/4 time, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The bottom number represents what kind of note gets the beat. So 4 in this case is a quarter note gets the beat. So we're gonna, you know, every measure you're gonna, you know, is gonna be comprised of some breakdown of 4 quarter notes in 4/4 time. And most pop music, I mean, like the vast majority of it is in 4/4 time. Every once in a while, you might get something in like 3/4 time, but very rarely, you know, do we get what we call an odd meter, something that you can't count by 4 or by 3 or something like that. And the first thing I got out of that Justin Guitar video was that he said, hey, you know, we're going to break this down into 5 phrases. I'm like, oh, that's great. If I learn 5 phrases, I just string them together the proper way, I've got the song. And the phrases are a mixture of 3 and 4. And I was like, what? And I listened to the song. Sure enough, the song is in 7/4 time. 7 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat. Da da da, 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... I never bothered counting the song out, figuring out the meter, and it would have, I don't know, I might have been successful earlier had I done that. I mean, just, like, duh. That was the breakthrough thing, though. So, it's a fingerstyle song. It's got this really cool, you know, alternating bass line that allows the song to kind of drive on. 5 phrases. So, and each phrase, you know, connects to, you know, some part of the song. The song structure is pretty basic. It's 2 phrases of verse into a chorus, into a transition, which is also the intro. That da 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 da. That's the you know, kind of the intro and transition, and that whole thing is repeated 3 times. So the first phrase is that you learn is that da 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 da. Then the second phrase. So for the first line or verse, ba ba da da, climbing up on Solsbury Hill. That's the first phrase, and then you repeat it again. I could see the city lights, and then the second, you know, the third phrase you learn then is a variation on the second phrase. Basically the same chords, just arranged differently. Wind was blowing, time stood still, and repeated. Eagle flew out of the night. Yeah, there's your, you know, like there's your first verse. The fourth, and then the whole thing repeats. Verse again. those two phrases. And then it goes into the chorus. So phrase number 4, I was feeling part of the scenery. I did not believe the information. I just had to trust imagination. So that this next line repeated twice. And then a variation on that line, and the variation is very similar. I mean, the way you play it, and I don't have my guitar here, so I apologize for that. The way you play is very similar to the variation in the verse. My heart going boom, boom, boom. And then the last phrase is where we get closest to just straight 4/4 time. Very, you know, and which from a kind of a song structure standpoint, 7/4 time, it's uneven. It's not, you can't divide 7 by 2. So it's uneven, and it gives you kind of this little bit of unsettledness. And looking at the lyrics, this song is about being unsettled. It's about, somebody you thought he knew who he was, and then he had this experience, that kind of blew his mind. And it started going through this metamorphosis. And anybody that's been through some change, that's really unsettling. Even if the change is good, the metamorphosis is unsettling. And then, so at the very last line of the chorus, like first verse, right, son, he said, you can grab your things, I've come to take you home. And it's just, hitting chords right on the beat. Very settled. We don't have the, that's, that same sense of unsettled 7/4 time. It's just really straight. So the first verse, he's talking about climbing up on Solsbury Hill. Eagle flew out of the night, so that's describing the initial experience. It kind of blew his mind. We go into the second verse, where he's talking about, if anybody who's been through something like this, I know I have, that what do you do with it? And oftentimes you kind of keep this stuff to yourself because, everyone else who's been living in, the reality you were living in, that's what they're comfortable with. So you start talking about stuff that doesn't fit their expectations, and my friends would think I was a nut is the line that really kind of brings that out. He's going to keep it quiet, but when you've had a transformative, existential experience, a spiritual awakening, or whatever you want to call it, it's hard to keep that quiet. What do you do with that? And so towards the end of the verse, he talks about, to keep it silence, I resign. My friends would think I was a nut. And then towards the end, it's like, it talks about which connections I should cut. It's like, oh yeah, all right, I gotta go. I need to get away from stuff. I think in this case, Peter Gabriel talking about his decision to leave Genesis, who he had been, a founding member, the lead singer, and creative force behind this, what was already a very successful band. And he walked away, he left. Famously, ultimately, leading to Phil Collins, their drummer, taking over the frontman role. And they had a lot of success, especially, in the 80s especially, with the new lineup of Genesis, without Peter Gabriel. And Peter Gabriel went on to have a lot of success as a solo artist. It doesn't always happen that way. So that second verse is talking about, I gotta make some changes. I gotta start cutting some things out. People, situations. It's a hard thing to do. And into the third verse, and then really talking about, what it meant to do that and why it was important. It was how, it kind of talks about, liberty, she pirouette whenever I think I'm free. That, I got this, I got life, and then, nope, no you don't. But then, that experience, and again, I think we've all been there at one point or another. But getting to like my favorite line, it's the last chorus. Today I don't need a replacement. I'll show them what the smile on my face meant. All right, going boom, boom, boom. Hey, I said, you can keep my things. They've come to take me home. The transformation is complete. But I love that. I don't need a replacement. I am good enough. I'm fine. You don't need me. I don't need that old situation. And I'll tell you, tell you why I'm smiling. This is not a sad thing. Um, and given all the change that I think everybody's had to go through in the last couple of years, I don't know. Right now, the song really speaks to me. Again, just lyrically, the poetry, the lyrics is beautiful. The arrangement that Justin worked out and that I was able to do, I just love. I'm so glad I finally got to knock this song off my musical bucket list. And I thank you guys for putting up with my rambling. As always, if there is a song somebody wants me to do, please feel free to reach out, leave a note in the comments or whatever. I'll do the song, happy to talk about it. I know these analysis videos aren't quite as popular as the music videos, but hey, this is kind of a vanity project for me. I like talking about the things that make me happy, and music makes me happy. So thank you so much. I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.